Hi guys, it's ranking series time, and today we're going to be ranking the Final Destination movies. There's 5 movies in this franchise, and I actually found it quite hard to rank some of these movies because a lot of them are on par with each other. There's some that are clearly not as good as others, and there's some that are better than others, but there are a few in between that it was quite hard to rank, so this was a difficult ranking for me, but I've made my official list and here they come. So in at number 5 is the Final Destination. This is the 4th one in the franchise. This movie felt out of place in the franchise. It had little ties to the other 4 movies and it looked the cheapest and the most rushed in the franchise, in my opinion. Although the Derby destruction at the beginning was pretty good, it was definitely the weakest premonition of the entire series. The thing I hated most about this movie was the 3D aspect. The 3D was okay, but this was released at a time when studios and theatres were pushing for the 3D, and although some of the 3D was pretty cool, especially the cinema explosion, it was just too forced. It just felt too forced. Some of the death scenes were not too bad. I had a fear of water when I was a kid because I nearly drowned as a kid, so that pool scene was probably the sweetest death in the movie. And at number 4 is Final Destination 3. The story for this movie is a little weak at times and it's pretty repetitive, and this is probably the reason I don't rate this movie very much, but you have to admit the premonition at the start of this movie was one of the best in the series. It was a long drawn out start to the movie, but this is what made it pretty tense because you just knew that most of the people that you see on screen were actually going to die, and horribly. The cast was very strong for a third movie in my opinion, especially since this was the first movie in the franchise that wasn't a direct follow-up to the first 2 movies that had returning cast members. And at number 3 is Final Destination 2. Let me start by saying that the premonition at the beginning of this movie was my favourite of all the franchise. Anytime I pass a lorry with logs on it, I instantly shout, "Final Destination 2!" I would probably say that this was the most memorable premonition of the entire series. And if the start of the movie wasn't good enough, the kills just got better and better as the movie progressed. I would say that most notably the best kills in this movie is probably the elevator scene, maybe the glass panel falling from the building, or the fence slicing somebody in 3 sections. The list goes on. I would say that the only complaint that I had with this movie was the off-screen death of Devon Sawyer's character Alex. I don't know if there was some sort of contractual issues, but since he was a huge part of the franchise to begin with, I just wish that he made an appearance, even if it was just to be like a quick on-screen death. And at number 2 is Final Destination 5. Now, this is the first and only movie in the entire franchise to give us a twist. And I would say that the twist was amazing and very, very surprising. We would think that the 5th installment in a declining franchise would be the nail in the coffin, but this wasn't to be for the Final Destination franchise. Albeit there haven't been any sequels since this movie, but it definitely ended the series on a high if this was to be the last in the franchise. The premonition in this movie was probably the largest in scale, and it probably had the biggest budget of the previous movies. It wasn't the most creative premonition out of the franchise, but it still had an impact as it was happening to us because it was such a large scale. The death scenes in this movie were again pretty creative for a 5th installment. My favourite scene in the movie, my favourite death in the movie was probably the laser eye surgery scene. I just hate stuff touching my eyes even though I wear contacts. Something I found very clever, that throughout the movie they gave us obvious hints that this movie was set in 2000. The fact that we hadn't had any twists in any previous installments made us oblivious to what was actually happening on screen. And I swear I told my wife that one guy had this really old flip phone when he was getting his acupuncture, but we both dismissed it quickly because again we weren't looking for that twist in the movie, especially setting it back in time. And then the ending for this movie, just when the character got on the plane and then we seen the school kids getting on the plane, you're just thinking, wow. Even though I should have seen that coming, we just didn't see that coming at all. And in at number 1 is the one that started it all, Final Destination. Well, that's not true. The one that started it all was actually the 1983 movie Soul Survivor that Final Destination took inspiration from. But yes, the first in this franchise is clearly the winner. After a good 4 years of slasher movies, we were all hit with a fresh new take on this horror. At the time, the cast was pretty big with the likes of Devon Sawyer, Sean William Scott from American Pie series, and Ali Larter, so that got my attention straight away. I went into this movie, like most of you, not knowing what to expect, and because of that I was totally surprised, and I would say that this is the main reason that this is my number 1 in the franchise. I would say it gave us that shock factor with the beginning of the movie with the premonition with everybody dying, because you get to know these characters just before they board this plane and then they all die. Yes, it was a premonition, but you get that kind of shock factor to begin with, thinking they've just killed all the characters. I'll be honest, I actually had zero complaints with this movie. The pacing was great, the acting was believable, and you were just on the edge of your seat the whole time when you're thinking death was just around the corner, because there was times in this movie when you thought, when you seen death killing some of the people in this movie, death almost takes a few of the characters as well, and you just kind of close your eyes, not because you're scared, because you're thinking, oh, what kind of death's coming up next?
Plane, it's gonna blow up, it's gonna blow up.
So that's my ranking of the Final Destination franchise. As always, guys, leave your comments down below. What do you think is the best movie in this franchise, and what do you think is the worst movie in the franchise? And an interesting question is, did you see that twist coming at the end of Final Destination 5? Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, I'll see you soon, bye bye.